Thank you so much, Brandon, for coming. Brandon has launched an absolutely fantastic effort of the Cosmos Institute. I joined a reading group on that earlier this year. It was fantastic. I'm a big fan on AI and philosophy, and please share a little bit about what it is that you guys are up to in the next few years.
Thank you, Allison. I'm Brendan McCord, founder of Cosmos Institute, and I would love to have us start by imagining Vision Weekend 2026. So you get off the plane, and as you're leaving, your phone starts glowing in your pocket. Within a few seconds, it's mapped out your entire evening. The neighborhood you'll love, the restaurant that will match your appetite, the bar with exactly the right energy for your mood. And it doesn't stop there. Your phone's identified the perfect date for you, not just based on your dating profile, but on your private messages, on your unspoken preferences, hidden in late-night searches. And it knows your date's psychological profile. It knows their family dynamics. It knows their deepest fears, their secret beliefs. Everything that's needed to compute the optimal match. But it goes further still. It orchestrates every moment of that evening. When to share that childhood story. When to show vulnerability. When to lean in for the kiss. It's already modeled everything. The conversational flow, the emotional resonance, the strongest bonds. Now imagine this isn't just one evening. This is your entire life. Every moment optimized, every relationship predetermined, every decision calculated. It's a life cradled by algorithms, measured against metrics you never chose, pursuing a happiness you never defined. If something in you recoils from this vision, if you felt a slight chill, even if you can't quite say why, you might be holding on to something precious, an idea of human life that centers on autonomy. You may think that the good things in life, love, discovery, achievement, growth, that those things have their value precisely because they're freely chosen, based on your judgment of what is good. At core, autonomy means this: the ability to reflect on and pursue our own carefully considered vision of what is best, not having our choices shaped by external forces to serve the ends of another, or ends we haven't thoughtfully chosen for ourselves. History shows where this can lead, and the stakes are high. Ordinary people, people like you and me, can and have become concentration camp guards, not through active malice, not through genetic predisposition, but through letting others think for them, through gradually surrendering their capacity to judge right from wrong. If we look at social media, the surface critique is that it manipulates us against our wishes, that it propagandizes us through misinformation. But a deeper problem might be that it erodes our capacity to judge what truly matters, to determine what we really want. And why is this so important? Well, for one, a liberal society depends on citizens who can form, revise, and act on their own conception of what's best. Perhaps more pressingly, a good human life does as well. And AI can enhance these capacities. It can free us to focus on what truly matters. Or it could slowly weaken us through the effortless satisfaction of algorithmically seeded preference until we no longer bear the trouble of thinking or the pain of living. There's a lot of talk about the risk that AI will oppose our will, a form of misalignment. I see a more subtle risk, which is that AI could gradually dissolve our ability to even have one. Now, you might say, I can't possibly think through every choice, and you would be right. In fact, civilization advances precisely by expanding the number of important operations of thought that we can perform without thinking about them. When I jam my toothbrush into my mouth each morning, it isn't because I've deliberated on dental health from first principles, but this cognitive offloading is what enables me to focus on bigger questions. AI promises something related to this, but a little bit different and much more seductive. It's offering to become an autocomplete for life itself, offering Oracle-like guidance, not just on our next word, but our next job, our next relationship, our next action, our next purpose. Today, AI is the invisible mediator of 20% of our waking life. Think of the major life-defining choices you've made: whom to marry, whom to befriend, what communities to join, what you want to devote your time and energy to. When much better AI mediates not 20%, but 80% of your waking life, will you retain the capacity to think through these decisions? Each small surrender might seem convenient, salutary, natural, but together, they risk atrophying our capacity to judge for ourselves, to shape our own authentic vision of life. Stepping back, every technological revolution presents us with the same choice: build for freedom or watch as others build for control. Look at the printing revolution. Benjamin Franklin built networks of libraries and independent publishers. He democratized knowledge outside of church and state control. Joseph Goebbels, on the other hand, transformed those same printing principle capabilities into systems of mass manipulation. The internet revolution followed the same pattern. Tim Berners-Lee's embedding of ideas around decentralization into the protocols of the World Wide Web unlocked new possibilities for human connection and open discourse. And that same technology gave us the Great Firewall and the social credit system that enveloped billions in a web of conformity and control. So that brings us to the crucial question: who are the leaders who will shape AI's transformation of society? I argue that our current institutions are failing to develop them. Universities produce narrow technicians or conforming ideologues. Tech companies breed optimizers who master the means without deliberating on the ends. And think tanks cultivate theorists who do not build. This is why we established Cosmos. It's an academy for philosopher builders, for leaders who can and must shape the civilizational primitives for the AI age. I'll just close briefly with two programs that we're doing. One is Oxford's newest AI lab, which we launched last month. Cosmos Fellows are creating philosophy to code pipelines to embed principles directly in open source software. And secondly, through Cosmos Ventures, a fast grants program inspired by Cosmos founding fellow Tyler Cowen's work, we are supporting teams that put the principles into practice via provocative prototypes. The same choice that faced prior generations faces us now. Build for freedom, watch as others build for control. And in this room are those philosopher builders in the making. But we must choose now while we still remember what it means to choose. Thank you.
Do you have time for a question? Yes? Okay, good. Well, then, in that case, we will make you too late, but here we have one.
In his latest book, Robert Sapolsky argues that this lack of autonomy that you have discussed is precisely what is happening in the deepest parts of our brains. How would we know the difference?
Determined is the book. It's a great, terrifying book.
Yeah, so haven't read the book, but this notion of autonomy I don't think depends on a radical separation from physical causality. In other words, it doesn't depend on a libertarian notion of free will. I think the key distinction is and I think this is compatible with determinism, but does your decision-making arise from a reflective process within you, from a deliberative process that we do undertake, or does it arise from external engineering of our choice architecture in a way that bypasses our reflective machinery?
Brandon, I'm hoping that people can afterwards reach out to you if you have to run now, but this is Brandon from Cosmos, everyone. Thank you.